It's important as a therapist to be able to interrupt your own dysregulation and be able to come back to engage with a client and be in the room. That feeling of being in the room as opposed to checked out, confused, distracted, thrown off. So, however you do it, important to have one thing that you use to come back to center. Sometimes working with somebody with mental illness, it can feel like an attack when somebody goes off, when somebody is triggered and has some kind of intense response, yelling or whatever. And I'm still not used to it. There's something that happens. You have a little start. And I know for me, very often there's a kind of feeling offended, feeling that, how dare you yell at me, and taking it personally. And I think that's natural. I mean, depending on your cultural context. Some people, some cultures, some family systems are more comfortable with yelling or different levels of expression. My family of origin, not so much. Pretty narrow range of acceptable emotional expression. You may be more or less comfortable with being yelled at, and maybe more or less comfortable with raising your own voice or setting limits at all. I know for me, just being yelled at was challenging, very challenging, because you're just not supposed to do that in my family system and culture, and it gets magnified in your own brain, or warped, however it is. You have a personal filter that it goes through, and part of your job as a therapist is to, at the very least, recognize that you have these filters, that you are putting a spin on everything that's coming at you. And if you're able to recognize your filters and name your spin, that's a great first step. Then, as you get more practice and notice, oh, every time I get yelled at, this happens and I have this reaction, you can start to kind of tease it apart a little bit and kind of change how you respond. It's pretty remarkable. You can actually, with meditation, it helps, really break down the chain of events and just not go there. Or go there and choose to go there. I mean, you have choice. If you can't see the filters, there's no choice. You're just, oh, this is just the way it is. And that's going to hamper your ability to be really present and also to just let stuff go by. It's important as the therapist to be able to stay in the room with a client, to communicate to the client that, whoa, this is a change in affect, but I'm still here, I'm still engaged, and you haven't thrown me off really, because that helps the client feel that they can express themselves. So it's important to have a 1-second centering technique, something that you, as the therapist, come back to, a go-to technique that's familiar, you don't have to think about it, that you use to ground yourself, center yourself when under stress, when working with a client that might be escalated.